Preservation Commission is now in session. Please note the meeting is being audio recorded. My name is John Holman, Chair of the Commission, and I will be running tonight's meeting. We are your volunteer representatives appointed by our county councilperson or county executive and trusted to monitor renovations and additions to our Baltimore County historic resources. We review and approve nominations to the Baltimore County Preliminary Landmarks List and comment on National Register nominations. Additionally, we are charged with evaluating submissions to the Baltimore County Historic Tax Credit Program that encourages the appropriate maintenance and renovation of designated historic properties. And before I ask the commissioners to introduce themselves, I do want to give a special welcome to Tom Liebel, who is joining us tonight as a new commissioner. Thank you, Tom, for being part of the group, and we look forward to working with you.
Pleasure to be here.
And then you all can see the screen and the order in which we will do the introductions. Lily, you go ahead and start.
This is Lily Mundroff, Council District 1.
Is Chris on?
No,
Chris,
both Chris's are not here.
Chris Weston will not be joining us, and Chris Parts will be arriving just a little late.
Okay. Wendy? Wendy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sorry, I was muted. Wendy McIver, Council District 3.
Thank you. Ray? See Ray on?
He's not on.
Ray. Phoebe?
Phoebe Evans-Latosha, executive appointment.
Jamie?
Jamie Ferguson, executive appointment.
Scott?
Scott Olupka, planning board rep.
I don't see Ed yet. I assume he's
trying. He's trying to. I just sent him an email.
Oh, okay, I was getting ready to.
And then Vince?
Vince Johnson, executive appointment.
And Tom, your first speaking part here.
Tom Liebel, executive appointment.
Thank you. And Chris will be joining us in a few minutes.
Chris Parts is here. He's
Actually
on now.
here.
Oh, is he?
Perfect.
Yeah. Chris?
Chris Parts, executive appointment. Hi, Tom. Or John, sorry.
That's okay. Hey, Tom and John, right?
Uh-huh.
Now we will please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United
States
of America,
and to the republic
which
for which it
stands
stands,
one nation,
God,
under God,
liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you. The Landmarks Preservation Commission operates under the authority, standards, and requirements of Title VII, Article 32 of the Baltimore County Code. We refer to the United States Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation as administered by the National Park Service. This is the accepted national standard for historic preservation projects. Our own Baltimore County Historic Preservation Design Guidelines directly reference and incorporate the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation. We have important preservation issues to discuss and debate at each meeting. If you would like to make comments, please limit your comments to the specific application or proposal submission being reviewed. We ask for your assistance and understanding so that discussions do not digress. As an additional comment, we can all agree that historic preservation is an important aspect of the quality of life and place that makes Baltimore County unique. As a commission, we seek to recommend significant buildings and places for landmark consideration to the County Council for their final vote. As commissioners, we serve on the commission due to our expertise, interest, and passion for historic buildings and places, and review submissions based solely on their merit. While we may disagree in discussion and voting, we continue to be a collegial body that respects each other personally and professionally. Are there any staff reminders? Or...
Yes, so just a reminder for offering testimony that to provide public testimony for any item on the agenda, members of the public must register to speak or submit written testimony to staff in advance, so that we can organize the list, and then staff would announce by name and unmute those members of the public who registered in advance to provide testimony at the appropriate time. Owners, applicants, and project representatives do not have to sign up to speak. Staff will announce the name them and mute them at the appropriate time. Also, just note that to those from the public, applicants and property owners that are in attendance, just a reminder that the information that's in this presentation is just a summary. It doesn't include everything that was submitted. The commission receive they receive a packet that includes all the applications, everything that was submitted a week prior to the meeting for them to review and compare. So this is just a summary. What you see here is just a summary to keep the meeting moving in an organized manner. Thank you, John.
And then the next agenda is selection of chair and vice chair for the year. Ed, are you?
He is on now.
Can you unmute Ed? Thank you. And Ed will run the nominations and elections. So each position has to be done separately. First the chair and then the vice chair. I turn it over to you, Ed.
Okay. First, we'll nominate and elect a chair. Do we have a nomination for the chair?
Yes, I would like to nominate John Holman to continue as chair.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Second.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. Do we want to do a roll call vote for this, please?
I'm sorry, could we have Chris Parts, please?
Yes.
Vince,
Yes.
Tom,
Aye.
Phoebe,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and John, please.
Well, yes.
Even if you don't know, you're still in, so.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Vote for yourself.
Accepted. Okay, for the next order of business, we'll nominate a vice chair. Do I hear a nomination for a vice chair?
So Ed, I would like to nominate Ed Horde as vice chair to continue in that role.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, can we do a roll call vote, please? And I'll call the nominations closed.
Great, could we have Chris again?
Yes.
Vince,
Absolutely.
Tom,
Yes.
Phoebe,
Yes.
Lily, Wendy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and John, please.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. We continue with our, and thank you all on Ed and my behalf. Thank you. We very much appreciate that. So our next issue is the chair calls upon the staff to inform members of the commission for any changes in the preliminary agenda.
No changes.
Okay, then minutes of the November 9th meeting. Do we have any additions, corrections?
No changes from staff.
Okay, how about commissioners, anything? Hearing none then, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move that we approve the minutes.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, and we can do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, thank you. Thank you. Then the consent agenda items. We identified agenda items 9 and 10, and staff can read the recommendations.
Great, so our first is agenda item number 9, the Carpenter property at 211B West Seminary Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District number 3. This is a non-contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District, and the applicants propose a rear yard fence installation. Agenda item number 10, the McMillan property located at 5167 Viaduct Avenue in Relay, County Council District number 1. This is a contributing resource within the Relay County Historic Districts, and the applicant proposes to install a gravel driveway and parking pad.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any issues with them being consent items?
No.
Anything we need to remove to the regular agenda? Hearing none, then I ask for approval for these two consent items. We'll do them both together, items 9 and 10. May I have a motion?
Move that we approve the consent agenda.
And second, thank you. And then I think we need to do a roll call. Please, Jessica.
Chris Parts, please.
Yes.
Vince, please. You're unmuted, Vince. Let's see.
Did he get kicked off? I think he got kicked off the meeting.
Oh gosh. Okay. We'll come back for Vince. Tom, please.
There he is.
Oh. Okay. Vince, are you back on? Can we have your vote, please, for the consent agenda?
Yes, I don't know what happened. My thing went out completely. I was reading along and I just,
Oh, no problem. This is for the consent agenda.
okay, yes, okay.
Great.
Good,
Thank
thank you, Vince.
Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and John, please.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we will dig into our regular agenda. Jessica, you want to start us on, I think it's number 5?
Yes, this is the Morrison Zahn property at 319 M'Laughlin Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District Number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District. And the applicants propose to replace the existing asphalt roofing on the main house with CertainTeed landmark asphalt shingles in the color Moire Black. The applicant proposes to install 6-inch gutters with a 3x4-inch downspout in the color 80-degree white. The proposal from the contractor mentions the gutter and downspout replacement is only to the porch, and no additional information about the existing gutters and downspouts were provided in the application. Additionally, the applicant proposes to install a 0 to 7-inch PVC fascia board cap in the color Colonial White. Again, no information about the existing fascia's material or condition was included in the application, nor were there photos of the existing fascia. Staff notes that more information is needed to review the fascia capping request. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the roof replacement and to not to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the fascia capping, as more information is needed to be able to review this work. Authority for action is Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter Roofs, pages 1 through 13, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you, Jessica. Commissioners, any comments or questions? Is the owner with us, by the way, Jessica?
I don't see them online.
Yes, one moment.
So
Let's see. No, we do not have the applicant with us.
Okay, then we'll go right to commissioner comments. Any thoughts?
I'd like to include the second part of about not issuing a certificate of appropriateness to include not having the gutters and downspouts replaced unless more information is given.
Okay, so we would amend the item to review fascia and gutters, right? Gutters and downspouts, you said.
Right.
And so with that amendment, are you making a motion to accept staff recommendations, then, Lily?
Yes. I move to accept staff recommendations with the amendment.
Commissioners, any thoughts? Any other suggestions?
I would second the motion.
Thank you, Chris. May we have a roll call vote, please, Jessica?
Thanks. Have Chris vote.
Yes.
Vince,
Missing Vince.
Oh, no. Can we have Tom?
Yes.
Okay. Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Scott, please.
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and John.
Yes,
Great, thank you.
thank you. Moving on to number 6.
Right. This is the Smith property at 502 Upland Road in Pikesville, County Council District Number 2. This is a non-contributing resource within the Sudbrook Park County Historic District. And this is a ex post facto review for the door and window replacements. Code enforcement correction number CB 200650 and CB 2300696, as well as new roof and gutter replacements. The property at 502 Upland Road is a split-level shed-style dwelling constructed in 1947 and is a non-contributing structure within the Sudbrook Park County Historic District. In November 2020, code enforcement issued a correction notice for the replacement of the front entry door after a constituent complaint was filed online. The property at that time had sold and ownership was not clear on state records. There was no movement on correcting the issue, and subsequently a citation was issued on March 2nd, 2022. The case went before the administrative law judge on March 31st, 2022, and the property owner did not show for the hearing, and a fine, then a lien, was imposed on the property. In November 2023, another online constituent complaint was filed for recent window replacements on the property. A correction notice was issued December 1st, 2023. Google Street View imaging and current images from the applicant showing the facade indicate that the original 3 single-panel 12-grill windows were replaced sometime before September of 2023. A code violation has not been issued for the window replacements. The property is currently under contract, and the new owners wish to address the present and past code enforcement issues before closure. The application includes information about work completed without LPC review, including the front door and window replacements, and a proposal to replace the existing roof and gutter system. So work item number 1 is for the front door replacement. From staff photos from 2011, the previous front entry was a flat door painted white. It can also be seen on Google Street View imaging from 2007 to 2012. This door was likely an earlier replacement of the original flat wood door without panels and a square-shaped light at the top that can be seen at neighboring properties at 500, 504, 506, and 508 Upland Road. From these images, staff notes that the previous front entry is not the original door. The previous non-original front entry was replaced with a 36-inch by 80-inch 7-panel steel door with a central light painted in the color red bluff. While the replacement door does not match the neighboring style and is not the most appropriate choice, staff does not feel that the replacement is a substantial detriment to the district or the dwelling and recommends approval with a notice to proceed as completed. Work item number 2, window replacements. The 2 existing window openings on the left side of the front elevation were originally fitted with a 12-light metal window. They were replaced with a pair of 2 1/1 vinyl windows. The large window on the right side of the front elevation that previously existed had 9 lights in a 3x3 configuration. This was replaced with a tripartite of 1/1 vinyl windows. The original windows can be seen on Google Street View imaging from September 2023 and staff photos from 2011. No other information about the window's condition was provided. Upland has several of the same style homes, and it appears that the majority of the windows have been replaced. Since this is a non-contributing resource, the LPC will consider the individual house, its age, style, and character-defining features, and then look at the defining features of the district as a whole. The front elevation windows were very prominent and provided much character to the dwelling. While staff does not have an issue with the replacement of the windows, staff feels that the replacement should match the same style and configuration of the original. With the above in mind, staff recommendation is to issue a certificate of appropriateness or a notice to proceed for the window replacements on the front elevation, but rather to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the removal of the vinyl replacements on the front elevation and replace with windows that match the original as close as possible with the same size, style, muntin profile, and light configuration. Work item number 3, the roofing, gutters, and downspout replacement. The existing shed-style roof is rubberized asphalt shingle roof that has reached the end of its use. The applicant proposes to install a new Duralast PVC heat welded roofing membrane on top of the existing main house roof. No changes will be made to the porch or garage roof. The current gutters are 5 inches and will be replaced with a new 6-inch K-style gutter system on the main house with 3x4-inch downspouts and a 5-inch K-style gutter system on the garage. Staff's recommendations are to vote to issue a notice to proceed for the front door replacement as completed, vote not to issue a certificate of appropriateness or notice to proceed for the window replacements on the front elevation as completed, but to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the removal of the vinyl replacements on the front elevation and to replace with windows that match the original as close as possible with the same size, style, Muntin profile, and light configuration. And finally, to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the roof and gutter replacements as proposed. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, roofs, pages 1 through 13, and windows and doors, pages 1 through 8, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you, Jessica. Is the owner with us or somebody?
Yes, we do have Mr. Dominic Smith with us. Let me pull him up and unmute. Hey, Mr. Smith, you're unmuted if you'd like to address the commission.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Jessica said about the history, we became interested in the house probably about 6 weeks ago. And we live actually on Olmsted Road, not far from the Upland Roadhouse. And we were purchasing this house for our daughter. She has a lot of special needs and she's an adult, and we are setting up a staff member to live there permanently and other people to come and go and take care of our daughter. And it was only through a chance meeting of the next door neighbor where I learned that there were, I guess, were fines on the front door. There was a previous owner, I guess from 2018, 2019 era, that had put in the new door that Jessica described. The current door that's there now, I guess it was red, but then they painted it black. He died, and then the house fell into significant disrepair as the estate languished for about 3 years, really until spring of 2023, when an investment group that we bought it from, when they got it at auction, according to them, they didn't know about the fines or the historic designation. And like I said, I only found out about it through just talking with the neighbor. And that started a chain of events, first speaking with Caitlin and then Jessica about how to proceed and how to make this right. As far as, the door versus the windows, I honestly thought it would be more focused on the door, because I could see how the door doesn't match the rest of the, that door is kind of like a Home Depot McMansion special. And the other doors are, wood, and it has the square. I honestly thought that would be more of the focus. And the windows, if I could pull up, or if you have pictures of the other 5, there's only 5 houses on the street, so really the other 4. The direct next door neighbor has original windows and an original door with the grating, the metal doors, metal windows and the wood door. My next door neighbor had replacement windows, and he did it with the similar grating and still has the original door. The house next to him has more like our house with the open window plan, framing, no grating, that kind of thing. And then the last house on the corner is a mishmash where like the bottom window has grating, the window above that does not have grating. It's had several additions. So there's 5 houses on this block. None of them are really the same. And if the goal is to provide some unifying nature to the block, that's long since gone away, since some of the houses started replacing things whenever they did that. work. So I was hoping more towards, and I would be open to replacing the door, but not the windows. And I don't know if Jessica or Caitlin, if you had gotten the recommendation from the Sudbrook Park Landmark Committee.
Yes, and that was circulated to the commission this afternoon.
Yeah. So, I mean, their recommendation was to remove the current front door and optionally replacing the living room window, the windows like you had talked about. I only found out about this like 6 weeks ago. We've been going over our budget for our daughter's special needs and all that entails. We're starting from scratch with this house, like we're not moving our stuff into this house. We're getting all new stuff because it's starting fresh. And then on top of that, the inspection turned up that we needed a new roof and gutters, and we're doing that, and we need to do that as soon as possible so we don't have a roof leak because the roof is in bad shape. So to be forced to do the windows is, frankly, going to bust our budget a little bit.
Thank you for those thoughts, Mr. Smith. We appreciate it. Commissioners, any thoughts or comments? Nothing? Nobody has any thoughts or comments? In that case, I'm assuming somebody would like to make a motion, but before we go to that part, Mr. Smith, I appreciate your concerns about what are going on in the other houses, but our obligation on our commission is to work one property at a time. So while we occasionally look at and try to be informed by some other options, we also have code for historic compliance that is our first order of business. And so we really wouldn't take too much into consideration the other homes. So that's where we're coming from on it. Commissioners, hearing no comments.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I do agree that the front door that's there now is not, in keeping with the original architecture of the house. But on the other hand, the property is a non-contributing property to the Sudbrook Park Historic District. So, I mean, if it were a contributing property, then I would say, then of course that door should be replaced. Would I prefer a replacement door? Yes, but I guess I could live with the bad door that's there.
Yeah, so the windows are the larger issue on
Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question as far as the non-contributing. Are these houses considered non-contributing because of the time period of Sudbrook Park? So it's not necessarily about the integrity of what some of the houses retain as far as original windows versus not. It's more that overall the style is not of Sudbrook Park. What's that determination?
So they're
trying to understand that. Yeah.
So they're constructed outside of the period of significance for Sudbrook Park.
Okay.
When it was first started development. So it's their period of significance is from the like 1870-ish to about like 1918, end of World War One. So anything that's constructed outside, unless it's that Donna Road section, which is from the automobile period, which are built in the 1930s. That's that in itself is the different section of Sudbrook Park where they're contributing to that portion of the community, but this one is not.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the original Sudbrook Park was a summer resort community. These are mid-century modern houses.
Right. But I would say that like if you had a situation where if something like this property was to be considered today, whether or not it should be part of a district as a contributing versus non-contributing, if it retained, my concern would be that if the character of the original casement windows is lost, then it wouldn't even be within a district. So I guess I'm going by, even if it is a contributing resource, the fact that it's part of a district and it's on the front of the house, then I think there has to be a good consideration about trying to bring back the windows that were replaced.
Could you speak to where this property is located within the Sudbrook Park? Like is it on the edge of it, or
It's on the edge.
I don't have I've not really spent much time in Sudbrook Park to know, to drive around in terms of
It's on the edge.
Okay.
It's on the very edge of the historic district. If it was across the street, it would not be in the historic district. And the historic district there is rather random. There's Cape Cod across the street from me that is not in the historic district, and his next door neighbor, which is the exact same house, is in the historic district.
Okay.
My concern is this house is a part of the history of the Sudbrook Park neighborhood, and it is part of it. It's 75 years old. It's 76 years old. I think it should meet the standards, and it should have been done correctly originally. It's not this owner's problem, but it becomes this owner's problem because of what was sold to him without notice.
Right.
But that's really that's not in our purview. Our purview is to maintain the character of buildings. And I do believe that this building could contribute to, a different era of Sudbrook Park. So,
How many kind of mid-century modern homes are there throughout Sudbrook Park? Is it just these like 5 or 6 houses on this one block, or and it's just how the district was drawn, or are there other areas of mid-century modern houses?
These were part of 5. There's a big Victorian behind our house that had a huge chunk of land,
Okay.
kind of forms a triangle. And I guess in the late 40s, early 50s, maybe late 40s, and then they built soon after, this row of 5 mid-century homes like mine, and they're all exactly the same, except the one on the corner faces the opposite way, but they're all like the exact same floor plan, were developed to when he sold off the land.
Yeah, and I recognize that style is similar to other mid-century modern houses throughout Baltimore. There's some like that in Towson. So that part, that kind of makes me lean more toward that these were drawn into the historic district on the edge, but aren't, they really are non-contributing, and it makes me feel like we should have more leniency, even though I hate the door.
I mean, my standpoint, like I said, was, if you're going to replace something, replace the door. The windows, to me, and I understand what you're saying, it's each one, being in compliance, but there's only 5 houses there. And if you look at the other 4, the one 2 doors down, it looks almost exactly the same. It's just that those windows open out. So the only time you're going to see that those windows are opening out is a couple months of the springtime or the early fall, when those windows are open, versus double hung windows. Who cares how they open?
well, it's more the look of the windows, the small mullions that you have, because they're steel windows. That they have multi lights, and that
Lighted lights.
These are only 1/1s. The others are casements. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just the fact that they open out. I'm going to make a motion.
Thank you, Ed.
That we follow staff's recommendations, and follow what's stated in the recommendations.
Is there a second for that motion?
A second.
Thank you. And just to be sure, any other commissioner comments? I think we've covered it pretty
Can
thoroughly.
I ask a quick question? Can I ask-
Well, let us get through the vote first. and
No,
then-
I have a question about what we're voting on because staff recommendation is, so it's not to issue a notice of a certificate of appropriate or a notice to proceed. Okay, so we're just, no, there's not a choice that we have to make on that.
Right, we're
Okay,
saying
just
yes to the
clarifying.
doors, no to the windows, yes to the roof and gutters. That's
Okay, I'm just clarifying
it-
that staff wasn't recommending that we choose between the two.
No.
no.
Okay.
No. So that's just part of
Okay.
part of the language. Yeah.
Okay, hearing no further comments, can we do a roll call?
Do we have a second? Did we get a second?
I thought we did.
Yes, I second.
Thank you. May we have a roll call vote?
All right. We have Chris, please.
Yes.
Vince,
Yes.
Tom. Let's see.
Tom's muted.
Tom,
Sorry. Yes.
you did. Great, thank you. Phoebe.
Can you pass on me a moment?
Sure, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Lily,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Scott,
No.
Ed, please.
Yes.
And could I have your vote, Phoebe, if you're ready?
I'm gonna go no.
Okay, and John, please.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for being with us, and staff will help walk you through what would be appropriate and also any tax credits that might be available to you on it.
As a non-contributing structure is not
Not,
eligible for
okay,
tax credits.
okay,
I
sorry.
thought- Well, hang on, I thought it was 20%.
No, non-contributing properties are not eligible for the tax credit. It's only for contributing properties.
It was my understanding at the meeting with Sudbury Park, the non-contributing gets 20%, the contributing gets 40%.
No, they might have said that the 40% might have come from this, combining it with the state program. You can get 40%, but there's
I don't get any tax credits whatsoever for all this.
not for non-contributing structures.
Okay, part of this too, for the recommendation, and I really don't know why I even bothered going to the meeting because their recommendation seems to not have been followed at all, but was waiving the fines on the door. That's because you're allowing the door, the fines aren't going to be there, right? There's no fine.
That is outside of our vote tonight. We don't have control over that.
It would have to talk to code enforcement and the administrative law judge, because they're the ones that issue the fines. And then the budget office is the ones that would be where you would pay the fine. So that would be, yeah, those are the points of contact for that issue.
Okay, so is the fact that you're ruling that the door can stay, is that pertinent to me getting the fines waived with whoever I need to talk to?
I'm not sure about that. This is first time this has happened.
Yeah.
Where the property owner at the time didn't show up to the hearing, and that's why the fines are for.
Right, well, he was dead.
Mr. Smith, before we get too deep into this is a conversation that this committee is not part of, and it's a conversation that might better be pursued outside of the meeting time with staff and then the appropriate city agencies about the.
Okay, but you just
the
ruled
fine.
that I've got to spend, my estimate was about 15,000 on the front of the windows, and according to what I thought it was at the Sudbury Park meeting, that I'd get some kind of tax break on that. But I'm not now, so I'm out 15,000, and there's about $3,000 in fines on the windows. So I'm out about 18,000 from your decision here, and I'm not happy about it.
I understand, and I'm sorry for that, and I'm sorry that perhaps bad information was given to you in terms of the condition of the home, but that's outside of what we do, and we're doing our very best to preserve the nature of a neighborhood and the nature of a house that has some architectural value.
Uh-huh.
So, but we appreciate you coming, and we wish you good luck with it. And now we're moving on to the next one, Jessica, item number 7.
Yes, this is the Birch property at 1725 Arlington Avenue in Relay, County Council District Number 1. This is a contributing resource within the Relay County Historic District.
Sorry, this is actually a non-contributing.
Oh,
I forgot to change
my
that.
apologies.
I thought I got it. It's non-contributing.
I'm sorry, this is a non-contributing resource. So the applicant has proposed to enclose a 16-foot by 11-foot section of the existing 30 by 10-foot covered screen porch located on the rear of the home. The porch is located underneath a 2-story rear addition where the second story expands the living space on the second floor. The existing porch is not original to the circa 1930 Dutch colonial house, a non-contributing resource to the historic district. The proposed enclosure will be expanding the kitchen and family room areas. The area will be framed out under the existing footprint of the existing porch and will be clad in cedar shake shingles, stained to match the existing cedar shake siding of the primary structure. 2 repurposed single pane, 6-light aluminum clad wood windows will be fitted to the north elevation facing the driveway. A new Anderson 400 series 4-panel patio door will be installed on the rear elevation as an exterior entry to the porch, and a new Anderson 400 series 2-panel patio door will be installed on the interior of the enclosed porch as an entry to the home. The remaining portion of the screened-in porch will remain screened in, but will be reworked with a new screen door. Staff's recommendation is to issue a certificate of appropriateness as proposed, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, additions and infill, and porches and steps, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you, Jessica. Is the owner or a representative with us?
Yes, we have Miss Maria Birch on. Miss Birch, I've unmuted you if you'd like to speak to the commission. Okay. Miss Birch, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm right here. I'm speaking.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Do you have anything you wish to add to the presentation?
If it is being approved, then I will have a big round of applause over here. And I guess there's anything that I need to add.
Well, thank you for being on the call. And as the commissioners discuss it, they may have questions for you. Commissioners, any comments, discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the recommendation of the staff?
I would move that we approve the staff recommendation.
Wait, just want to clarify what's written on the screen was not updated. I didn't catch that when I was, it's to vote to issue a certificate, ignore the not. It was not edited.
Oh,
Sorry, I
right.
missed that one when I was going through.
Okay.
Yeah, our meeting materials have the correct
Yeah.
recommendation
It
on
might have
them.
been copied from another one. I just forgot to.
No,
Okay.
And
Yeah,
Our
so-
meeting materials, not the.
Before we continue, we also have Mr. Frank Meek who would like to speak about this property. Let's see. Mr. Meek, I have you unmuted if you'd like to address the commission with any comments. Can you hear us, Mr. Meek? It seems a little.
We'll continue with the discussion, and then if he can get connected, we'll come back to him. Commissioners, any comments or discussion? If not, is there a motion? And as Caitlin said, we're voting to issue a certificate of appropriateness. if you make a motion to accept the staff recommendations.
So I will change my recommendation just to confirm that I would move that we vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness as proposed.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
So this is Maria Birch. I can just tell you, I just got a text message from Frank and he just said, congrats. So,
Okay.
Well, we're not quite there yet. So
okay, let me tell him.
Okay.
Okay,
keep the cork in until we're done.
Okay.
And then, okay, hearing no more discussion, may we have a roll call vote, Jessica?
All right. Could we please have Chris Parts?
Yes.
Okay. Vince,
Yes.
Tom,
Tom's muted.
here,
Sorry.
Tom.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Look at the
Phoebe,
chat.
please.
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and John, please.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
And before we start number 8, which I'm going to give Jessica a minute to rest her voice here, but I want to suggest to the commission that they listen to this narrative and consider as we go through it to look at as a whole piece rather than as separate items. There are a lot of things here, and I think a good approach might be to keep that in mind as you're hearing the narrative on this property. That said, I'll turn it over to you, Jessica.
Are you talking about the one we're about to?
The one we're about to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Hope you're all sitting. All right. This is agenda item number 8, the Charles C. Woodland House. This is a Lighthouse Property Investments LLC. It is located at 77 Winters Lane, Catonsville, County Council District number 1. This is final landmark number 259. Again, the Charles C. Woodland House. So the applicant has proposed an asphalt roof replacement, chimney replacement, side porch demolition, siding, window, and door replacements. The Charles C. Woodland House was originally constructed around 1874 and was placed on the final landmarks list in 2005. In addition, this is a contributing resource within the Winters Lane National Register Historic District. The Winters Lane Historic District is historically African American community located between Frederick Road and the Baltimore National Pike. The district is composed primarily of single-family dwellings augmented by a few commercial, social, and religious resources. The historic properties, which developed between 1867 and the mid-1940s, are vernacular in design and workmanship, reflecting the working class status of the residents. And the National Register forms for Winters Lane as well as for the Charles Woodland House were provided in the staff summary to the commission. So the Charles C. Woodland House is one of the oldest extant dwellings in the district, constructed circa 1874. It is a 2.5-story wood frame dwelling, 3 bays wide and 1 bay deep, with the 1929 2-story shed roof addition on the rear. The first floor of the house has a central passage flanked by 5 rooms, set on a random rubble stone foundation. The house was originally clad in wood German siding that was affixed with square head machine cut nails. During the 1970s, the house was reclad in vinyl siding, and the 1-story, 3 bay wide front porch was rebuilt. The owner has proposed the following exterior alterations to the structure. Work item number 1, main roof and front porch roof replacement. The circa 1874 main block of the house and front porch currently have asphalt roofs. The applicant proposes to replace the existing roofing material with architectural asphalt shingles. Item number 2, for the shed addition roof. The rear shed addition was added to the house in 1929. The current low-pitch shed roof is covered with an asphalt tar material. 2 brick interior end chimneys are located on the north and south sides of the roof and currently are not functioning. The applicant proposes to raise the slope of the shed roof to address current structural deficiencies and to remove the 2 brick chimneys. The roof framing will be rebuilt. When completed, it will be covered with an architectural asphalt shingle to match the main roof. Staff notes that no details about the roof raising were provided, nor were dimensions or measurements included on the drawings submitted. Staff recommends that more detailed and to-scale drawings be submitted. Item number 3, side addition covered porch. There's a 1-story, 1-bay wide, 4-foot side porch and addition on the north side of the house. Under the shed roof is an open porch on the circa 1874 main block and then an enclosed addition on the 1929 addition that contains a half bath and closet. According to the 1930 Sanborn Fire Insurance Map, that this addition and porch were added at the same time as the 1929 shed addition. According to the applicant, the porch has been altered over the years and the current framing materials and railing are not of good quality. The applicant proposes the demolition of the side porch, associated concrete and steps, then to make repairs to the newly exposed rubble stone foundation. Staff notes that more information is needed on the dimensions, age, and condition of the existing porch area and foundation. In addition, it is unclear from the applicant's description and drawings if the entire 1-story side addition will be removed or just the covered porch portion. Staff recommends that the applicant return with better drawings to scale that accurately depict how the structure will look when it is completed. The description of proposed work needs to match what is on the plans and vice versa. Item number 4, siding replacements. The applicant proposes to remove all existing aluminum siding and trim that overlay the original German lap siding and to replace with new white vinyl siding and black vinyl trim. The applicant mentions that the original siding is underneath yet in poor condition, but no detailed photos or further information was provided. Our guidelines state that existing siding can be replaced in kind or with a better material that is appropriate to the style and age of the dwelling. The following are a few options: to make repairs and reuse the existing aluminum siding, to replace with aluminum, or to remove aluminum, salvage German siding underneath and move salvageable wood siding to the front elevation, return wood German siding to the 1874 portion of the house, then either clad the remaining with wood German siding or use a cementous siding like hardy plank on the 1929 addition. Staff also points out that the siding, trim, and other wall finish needs to be shown on all drawings and plans. Work item number 5, window replacements. The applicant wishes to remove all existing 26 1/1 vinyl windows of various sizes and to replace with new double hung 1/1 vinyl windows. Additionally, all existing window shutters will be removed. Our design guidelines allow for vinyl to be replaced with vinyl. Staff would like to note that there are discrepancies in the drawings and the windows that currently exist. On the front, there are a pair of windows on the second floor. On the drawing, it shows a single window. On the right side north, the proposed window seems very large and out of place from the other windows on its elevation. Proposed window 2D is a large compared to other on this elevation. Existing windows in that location are a set of 3 sashes, not a single window. On the left side, south window, labeled 3J is a new, 3C is removed, and 3E used to be a set of 3 windows. Again, the windows do not all match the size of what exists. Drawings need to show existing and proposed window dimensions. Any adding or enclosing of openings, windows, or doors needs to be described. Work item number 6, door replacements. The house currently has a single-leaf 6-panel colonial-style front door covered by a decorative security storm door. Material of the front door appears to be metal and is not original. There is a single-leaf entry door on the north side elevation under the 1-story side porch addition. There's a set of glass sliding doors centered on the rear elevation. The applicant proposes to replace the existing front entry with a new steel door in a craftsman style, according to a photo submitted. The craftsman style is not appropriate for this colonial style house. Staff recommends a colonial style door. Remove the existing side entry door under the side covered porch addition, which is proposed to be demolished. There is no information about if the door will be made into a window or will be enclosed. From the drawing submitted, it appears that a window is being installed in its place. The applicant wishes to remove the existing rear sliding glass door. The drawings submitted of the proposed rear elevation appear to only show 2 new window openings and 2 single-leaf doors being installed. There is no information about infill, the sliding door proposed, for removal. Staff recommends better drawings to be submitted that reflect what the structure will look like when completed. For work item number 7, gutter system replacement. Remove all existing aluminum gutter system and replace with new vinyl system in the same location where they currently exist. Staff notes that the gutter and downspouts were not shown on the drawings, and product information, including style, size, and location of the replacements is needed. Work item number 8, sidewalk removal and replacement, step installation. A concrete walkway extends along the front and east side of the house. The applicant proposes to remove the existing concrete walkway and associated concrete steps, then to install a new concrete walkway and steps in the location of the existing. Work item number 9, front porch post replacements. Remove the existing 4 metal front porch posts that were added in the 1970s and replace with 4x4 wood posts and new wood railing. No information about the type or style of railing or post to be installed was submitted. The MIHP form mentions that the original porch posts were simple square wood posts. The drawing shows some kind of top and bottom trim. However, the drawings need to reflect what the porch will look like when completed. The types of porch railings shown in the drawings submitted are not appropriate and are more for a fence or deck, not a front porch. For work item number 10, deck replacement, the applicants propose to remove the existing rear deck. No existing dimensions were provided, and to replace with a new 17 by 8 wood deck, construct new wood steps, and staff notes that more information is needed about the deck railing and stairs. Finally, we have work item number 11, the rear patio replacement. There is an existing concrete patio in the rear yard. It has the original well for the house, and the size of the existing patio was not provided. The applicant proposes to remove existing patio and replace with a new 40 by 20 foot stone patio. No information about the type of stone or finish was provided. Staff appreciates the applicant's efforts in wanting to improve the property. However, more information and better drawings are needed to complete a review. This type of work has been reviewed and approved in the past, and staff and the LPC just need more details and better drawings in order to conduct a review. So staff recommends that the applicant provide a detailed description of all work items, and notes that work items need to be described separately, not grouped together. This level of rehabilitation work requires drawings of the elevations to scale that accurately depict how the house will look after it's completed. In addition, staff would like to mention that the property would be eligible for state and county tax credits for some of the rehabilitation work proposed. So staff's recommendation is to vote not to issue a certificate of appropriateness or a notice to proceed, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, roofs, pages 1 through 13, porches and steps, pages 1 through 6, facade materials, pages 1 through 12, and windows and doors, pages 1 through 8, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Well done. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. So I call your Commission's attention particularly to the last couple of paragraphs as they talk about the staff appreciates the applicant's efforts in wanting to improve the property. However, more and better information and drawings are needed. Is the applicant with us, Jessica?
So we have Mr. Alvatar, but I am going to unmute him. So yes, Mr. Alvatar, if you'd like to address the commission.
That's me. I'm the owner. Lighthouse Properties is my company. I didn't know how much detail was needed. I tried to have a conversation with the staff just to find out exactly what was needed to make this move along. And I was told, oh, this is a simple process, which obviously it is not. So I need details as to what it is that you guys need provided, so that I can accommodate that. And then once that's done, I assume everything needs to be reviewed again. Is that how the procedure works?
That's certainly a path. And when we talk about it being a simple process, we do try to make it simple. But what we rely on is some drawings, typically professional drawings that show detail of each work item so we can evaluate them for appropriateness. So sometimes you do need professional help. You're well advised to do that.
I'm in the
So-
process of getting the professional drawings by the engineer. They were supposed to have that ready before now, but unfortunately that was not. But following the instructions, it says the drawing could even be, hand done.
For some simple projects that works. For more complex like yours.
Typically
we
folks
can-
who have a fence installation will have, a hand-drawn map that, it depends on the level, of the project, which this is an intensive project.
Could I make a comment? I think that staff could furnish you with drawings of other jobs similar to this that show the sort of level of detail that you need. I'd like just to make one statement. This is a landmark building in Baltimore County. It's an important building. It needs good drawings. The other thing is windows need to be put back in the same locations as they were. You can't start moving windows all over on a building that's a landmark structure. It's right now they're just sort of it seems random almost where the windows are placed. They're not placed where they were. They need to be generally the same size and character as what's there. So I mean, if we had drawings, we could tell you more about it, but that's just something I saw from what I did see. And the distance from the grade to the first floor ought to be accurate. And I can't really go into all of it. And at this point, I think I would suggest talking to staff about what drawings look like and getting a set of drawings. And an engineer may be what you need, but I think it might be someone that has some experience in doing historic renovations. This is a landmark building, and it's, I hate to see you come back a number of times. So I would urge you to meet with staff and have them show you some things that we've reviewed before that were successful.
It sounds like you were going to end with a motion there.
We'll give it a motion. I move that we do not issue a certificate of appropriateness or a notice to proceed, that the owner developer should come back to us with drawings and that correctly and properly show the extent of what they're planning so we can judge it and evaluate it.
I had a comment, but I can wait till after a vote.
Well, there won't be a vote without a second. We need to have a second. So.
Okay.
Can I ask questions?
Yes.
So just
Was that a second?
note of what the last gentleman was talking about with the placement of windows. So
I
stating
didn't get that. That broke up. That meant.
The last gentleman was talking about the placement of windows and replacing or putting windows back to where they were. That's even if the windows weren't there originally. And then second, when the girl was describing the property or what type of siding material, you can't replace aluminum anymore. You can't get aluminum. Aluminum is not available as a siding material. So you can't replace aluminum with aluminum. So what's wrong with using the same style of vinyl siding versus aluminum? And the wood that is under the aluminum, by the way, it cannot be used.
So thank you for those thoughts, but we're not in a position without the drawings and more detail to go over this item by item. If you talk to a qualified architect, somebody who's familiar with historic renovations and what is required of how to meet the guidelines, I think all that will be made clear, and there absolutely are materials that are available. Many of our people who come before us find them with the help of good professional advice. So at the moment, we have a motion on the floor, but no second.
I'll second, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy. thank you. Commissioners, any other comments or suggestions?
Just note that staff is here to work with you if you are willing to work with them to get the strongest application possible to us to review next time.
Asked to speak to someone several times. They kept referring me back to the email that they sent me and saying, here's the instructions.
Sir, this is, just please be respectful to our staff and to the process rather than being combative. I think that would do you better
No,
than.
I'm not being combative. I'm telling you what was said to me was that, you know, I attempted several times. I said, can I schedule a time to talk? And I got referred to the email.
Well,
I just wanted to add, this is Lily, Council District 1. If you refer back to the listing, the Maryland Historical Trust listing, which seems that they recorded the property in 2012 as far as some of the existing photos. It's always helpful to go back to what are some of the earlier photos of the property and what the history is, and really that helps as a guide as far as a lot of the significance of some of the original materials, the configuration of the windows, and what can be an appropriate solution to rehabilitating the house. So just I know that it was included in the documentation.
Yes.
That it's basically I'm trying to go back here to the number BA 2913. It's under the Maryland Historical Trust listing for the house. So that's a really good starting point as far as the importance of what was there originally and what should be preserved and
Right.
all. And it has the photos as well. So just
Yes,
wanted to.
I understand
bring
that.
that
The
out.
photos that were taken in 2005, I believe it was, that shows the additional porch in the back addition. And when I read the instructions, this is just so I understand what's going to happen here tonight, but moving forward. So it says when they talk about the original building, which was built in, like she said, 1874, I believe it is. That side porch, for example, was not existing in 1874. Those 3-bay windows on the back of the house was not existing in 1970 or 1874. So my interpretation was, you know, if it wasn't original to the structure, then you could make changes to it. But this is the type of information that I wanted up front so that I wouldn't have wasted your time today, and I could have got it all done right the first time.
Well, at this point, we haven't made a vote, so let's see what happens with the vote first. But thank you for your comments, and I'm sure staff will be there to help you. May we have a roll call vote, Jessica?
Sure, could we have Chris Parts, please?
And I'm sorry, can we just
So by
reconfirm?
The vote to, if you vote yes, you are voting to agree with staff recommendations that we need better drawings and better materials.
Not to issue a certificate of appropriateness or notice.
Right.
To
Okay.
proceed.
So yes.
Okay, have Vince, please.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Phoebe,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and John, please.
Yes. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Altivar, thank you for being with us, and I'm sure we'll have a more productive conversation next time through. Staff, do you have anything else? I see there's one.
Yeah, there's just one application that received a Part 2 approval for an emergency repair. This was the Benson property, contributing property within the Glendon County Historic District. And it was an emergency review for the in-kind replacement to the existing asphalt main roof, repairs to the existing membrane lower roof, in-kind repairs and replacements to the wood fascia boards, an in-kind vinyl siding replacement, vinyl shutter replacements, and an in-kind K-style gutter replacement. That's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And do we have A motion to adjourn then, if there's no other business.
I have just a question on the Sudbrook Park property. Is there flexibility for enabling like a time frame for them to, if it's a financial hardship for them initially? Is there, and I don't know if that's anything within the commission's parameters or not, to say give them a window that they could, complete those that work within.
Yeah, so since the windows and the door were code violations, it's typically 6 months that we provide them. I forget, the commission needs to state that in there. I always forget to remind that, but there's a date like on the correction notice, but usually if they're in contact with us working to get it done, we're pretty lenient on enforcing it until I tell our inspector to issue a citation or something, but it's usually like we give them 6 months.
Okay. And I guess I'm just thinking that it would be, I don't know, it sounds like they're doing a lot for their daughter. It would be nice if we were able to do something that provides greater flexibility,
Of course,
for
so
them.
we can communicate that, as long as they stay in touch with us.
Yeah, great.
With it, because we've done that before with other property owners that needed some more time. So like, as long as you stay in contact with us, I don't have a problem. As long as I know you're doing something about it, not you just fall off the face of the earth for 8 months and nothing happens.
Right.
Then I'm going to be like, hey, what's going on?
Very good. Thank you, Caitlin.
I have a question about I understand that we can't really change any of the whole tax credits on non-contributing, but it seemed, I was looking at the, I guess the guidelines. Are the most recent guidelines been published or made public yet?
No. So I did send an update about that through email last week. They were approved by law. And now I'm just going through the process of prepping for a meeting for that and then selecting a date. So that should hopefully be in February.
And I guess it's my understanding that those guidelines state that for non-contributing structures, the recommendations are to more lenient in replacing the windows, but that you should not be putting Victorian windows on, more modern houses and sort. So that's kind of the recommendation. As long as the size of the window is the same, they can be, they can be lenient as far as maybe doing vinyl instead of the steel, but that they need to match the style, be in the same style as what that non-contributing structure is, so that it's a cohesive of non-contributing within the historic district. So then my question is, if you're asking them to do all of this, but there's no tax credits involved, that seems like a lot to me. So I was a little shocked to kind of understand. And I guess the Maryland Historical Trust is the same way. So they basically, there's no tax credits available for that.
Yeah, so the tax credit issue, I opened a can of worms on that a little bit, and I apologize for getting a little out over my skis on that. However, if that is something that changes commissioners' views on this work, or feel like we need to amend our thoughts on it, we can do that. We can do that if we need to. If they want us to reconsider, if there's some sentiment that we think the vote would be different, we can ask to reconsider it again in February. But it would be something that we would want to be sure that there would be a different conclusion. It would be unfair to bring him back and then come to the same conclusion. So to that end, the only way I know to kind of approach that would be that if some of you want to think about that and
we need to be careful. we need to be careful of the open meeting.
Yes,
Requirements when we have a
exactly.
meeting that's not public, so.
Yes, I understand that, Ed.
Yeah.
If some of you want to reconsider that, you can let us know individually. We can't get together as a group, as Ed has correctly noted, but if I get some sense from commissioners, if 5 or 6 of you write to me or to Caitlin and say, let's take another look at it, that can do it, and that does not violate any of the open meetings rules.
We should be careful about precedents and other things that we've approved in the past and make sure we're not doing something that's different than what we've approved in the past.
Yeah,
I just want to be, that we're consistent and we don't.
I understand.
One time now, we need to sort of have a nice, consistent look at this and be fair to people so they can make informed decisions when they're making decisions.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for reconsideration. I'm offering a path to commissioners to at least bring it to the attention of Caitlin and myself and ultimately Ed, and then we can kind of see where we go from there.
And I guess go ahead, Vince.
I was going to say, my thoughts on that were, do we have that kind of leeway?
Yes, I feel certain we do, Caitlin. That we could, if somebody resubmitted that application, that we can make a different choice. Yeah.
Yeah, if they resubmit it, should be fine.
And then my second question was more to Ed's point, president, and I guess that's a kind of a sticky.
It is, but precedent is important. But on the other hand, if you feel like we've made a mistake, and then it's better to correct that mistake than to worry about the precedent, in my view. So
yeah.
But so we can't meet together as a group.
Right.
But if individuals want to contact me or Caitlin, and then we can tally it up and see if there's some consensus to revisit that one.
Be careful with that. I mean, I would look into the open meeting laws because it could be seen as a way to get around having a meeting doing an email consensus building can be considered a meeting. Just be careful.
Yeah, yes. Let's be clear. To Ed's point, this is not a group email. This is a one-on-one. We're not passing it around, because absolutely right, Ed, that if it's a group email, I think that is a violation of open meeting. But if you as individuals want to contact me or Caitlin.
Another thing I guess we could do is a technical committee, which is not a quorum of the board.
So that potentially would be a second step if there are people who want to reconsider it, Ed. Yes, I think that's a
group wanted to form a technical committee. I think they could talk to staff and you and
yeah. I think the first step is to see if there's any appetite for that, Ed.
Right, a technical committee could help kind of place this home within the larger Sudbrook Park Historic District in terms of where it is and what the other houses near it look like. I think that would have been informative to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And I guess one more follow-up question then, John, as well, is can we as a commission, although we don't control the fines, can we as a commission make a recommendation to the county agency that enforces the fines to waive those?
I think that's part of the conversations Caitlin has and Jessica sometimes have with them anyway on a routine basis, but certainly that could be part of it. Am I right, Caitlin and Jessica, that you all sometimes have that conversation?
We don't really set fines.
Okay.
It's the same process that is used for other code violations. So that's something that is beyond our control.
It's beyond control.
Right.
That would be strictly code enforcement.
Yes.
But we could put an advisory in and say.
And I don't know what they do for ones that have already been processed and fines are put, and I don't know what happens with that. Things that have already been in place. So this will be a new situation to learn more
I,
about
I
that.
think it's worth investigating. Just
But you be
It's-
careful, because I remember a few
Yeah.
years ago, we did someone came, they had a violation on a house in
Mhm.
West Towson that had
Mhm.
ripped all the windows out, and we were firm on that, and all of a sudden, so some people were firm too, some people were not. I mean, we need to be,
Mhm.
I'm concerned we don't give the appearance of being capricious and
Mhm.
Can I just interject? Can we end the meeting so I can stop the recording?
Okay.
Because right now you guys have this discussion after the official end of the meeting. We'll discuss that. I just don't want it on the recording that's going to be placed on the website.
May I
Yeah,
have
do we have a motion for adjournment?
Yes, we need a
be
motion.
careful if we have a quorum after we adjourn, we really should not talk about this. So it's as a group, I think a few of you can talk.
Can
But I
can
don't-
we? Well,
You're
I'm
not
just
conducting
going to ask.
business.
Yeah,
You want
can
to
we
do
just
business, it should be
go
public.
overall? There's no reference to. It's more about understanding the contributing versus non-contributing concept and within a historic district.
Why don't we just talk about that if we're going to do it as a group, why don't we do it in public and discuss?
Okay.
I think we have to. I don't think we have a choice.
I don't know if this, I mean, I'm just asking, isn't this a different owner than the one who was fined?
Yes.
So that might make a difference.
They
Well,
it flows with the property. So
Yeah, they would know all
Mhm.
that.
Right.
And that's out of our purview.
And
The
the
fines
owner
are
they
completely
I
out of
know
our
the
purview.
fine
and
is.
the owner he purchased the property was the one that replaced the windows. So I don't know why he didn't put anything in his closing statements about the windows. since the
Yeah,
violation.
it was my understanding from phone conversations with Mr. Smith that he was working with the owner to address these issues before they closed on the property.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
So I think Ted's point, yes, we don't want to turn off the recording yet. Let's keep talking, but let's also bring it to a conclusion. So there are two possibilities. One, you contact Caitlin and me if there's some appetite to revisit this one. Or if there's some appetite right now, we can form a technical committee to revisit this and just see if they feel like we should reopen it.
maybe a technical committee could look at and do a report back to the board on the requirements for contributing and non-contributing buildings in terms of enforcement in a neighborhood, and what the law says about that, and report to us. Staff and technical committee maybe could do something. I think that would be helpful to people, I think, in terms of understanding what the law says about non-contributing buildings in historic districts and what we need to, how firm we need to be.
All right.
I think that might be helpful.
Mhm.
I agree, that would be helpful.
Mhm.
So why don't we have I would recommend that we have a technical committee that works with staff to really understand and report back to the board next meeting about what that's all about.
Okay, part of the issue for me is, so that would mean we'd report back next meeting. It would be March before we do anything. This project may be over by then if we're seeking relief for this owner. But I would be happy for a technical committee. Do I have volunteers for that? I think we ought to have 3.
Maybe we could do a technical committee that reported back on the broad issue and also made a recommendation about this particular project.
Okay.
Would that be before the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
You do technical will become part of all the data that we get before us, and we wouldn't be able to tell them it's decided, but we could say this is what a technical committee's report is.
I do think that we would also need to kind of reference back to Sedgwick Park and how they see it, because in a way, they were different I mean, their recommendation was different than ours. So I think it'd be important for their view on what contributing and non-contributing means and how they handle it. From what I see on their website, in the homeowner's guide, it does show that you need a design review. And when you click on that, it sends you to the county page, which lists that historic review, landmarks historic review is required for both non-contributing and contributing. So, I mean, right away, I guess if you are buying a property within the district, you know right away that you need a review before you do any kind of work for both contributing and non-contributing.
It's true.
Yep.
And
So-
you've done new buildings in historic, county historic districts and had to come before this commission because it was part of it.
Expanding the conversation a bit, something we did in Baltimore City is engage the board of realtors to make sure that closing documents had a requirement that the owner was notified that this was indeed located in an historic district. Because whether, innocently, honestly did not know or could claim no one ever told me, being able to go back and say, here's a signed document you have that said you are aware that you're in a historic district means you can't kind of go, I didn't know.
Yes, we have a lot of that. I didn't know.
I have no doubt it's a very common refrain. And if we can somehow assist our citizens in understanding if they're moving into a community that they are under the obligation of an historic district, crystal clear, that would eliminate a lot of these conversations, I think.
So we're left with,
Well, back to one point, we were talking about the fact that Sudbrook maybe has different requirements than ours. We have the county law that we have to follow. Whatever we have disagreed with local commissions, local neighborhood commissions. They don't have to follow the same requirements that we follow. They should, but we're tasked with following the law and enforcing the law. And they're not at task with that necessarily. So I'd just be careful about saying, oh, a local district community association had a different, or a committee of a local commission or neighborhood group.
yes.
They don't have the same requirements that we have.
Yes. Yes. I think
My questions are more why this particular, block of the 5 mid-century modern houses was included in the Sudbrook Park Historic District. To that.
That's very interesting because when you draw those lines, they could have drawn that line to not include those because they were 1947. 1947 is.
It depends on so the way our county historic districts are made, you have to have 75% of the owners of the properties involved to agree to it. And in my understanding, because there are some streets that are all non-contributing structures that could have easily been left out, but sometimes those non-contributing structures want the district, so they include them, so they're counted as a yes, so they get that 75%.
Yeah, okay.
But there's a lot of building, there's a lot of, there's several other non-contributing structures because that most of those properties, the original houses had large parcels that they subdivided. That's why we have those. So I think they're also in the National Register boundaries, but the National Register boundaries are slightly a little different than the county's ones.
So Ed, Lily, Phoebe, would you all be willing to be that technical committee and take a look at that for us?
Yes, for me, Lily.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, I could as well. I mean, my expertise is more as a historian and not on,
Right.
the architectural code part, but
Exactly.
we've got 2 architects, so that's good.
we need that balance, Phoebe.
Okay, good. So as long as I can provide the balance.
Yeah.
And we'd like to make sure that staff helps us with the
Oh, yeah.
understanding the laws behind reviewing non-contributing buildings, just to
Okay.
refresh.
If we're leaning on the staff more
Well-
for the law part, or can we do that?
Yes.
Yes, well, we can read, or in our code, it says all buildings within the boundaries of a historic district are be reviewed. Our design guidelines say that they're for historic structures, not non-contributing. So that's why our update for the design guidelines is including a section for non-contributing buildings, so that we could, because I know in the past we've used our guidelines sort of in reviewing non-contributing structures. There's no clear, so that's one of the reasons for the update. But anyway, sorry.
Thank all three of you for agreeing to do that. And then we will await a report, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Lily, would you be the chair of this subcommittee?
Will I?
No,
Lily.
Lily, yeah.
Sure, I'll try.
organize us and
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Sounds
good. Thank you. There we go. They've already had their first committee meeting. Wow.
No.
So now I think we are ready for a motion to adjourn.
I would move that we adjourn. Thank you, everyone, for the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for opening that up, Chris. We're grateful. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. Thank you. And voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Happy New Year. Good to see you all again, and look forward to seeing you in February. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks all. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye-bye.